It should not be hard to recruit lords into a war against an enemy known as the Mad King. We can even understand the lords who chose to honor their oaths and fight for him. But the Krakens of House Greyjoy set out Robert's rebellion on Pike with their tentacles up their arse.
My father Quellen was old, and sitting is what old people do best. Well, second best. He would have sat out the whole war, if not for my brother and me. We convinced him that nobody would fear the wolves of the sea if we curled up by our fires while others feasted on the spoils of the Mad King. So the old man creaked into his rusty armor and set sail for the Reach, only to be routed by Tyrell longboats. When my father sadly fell in battle, my older brother Balon beat a tactical retreat to his own inheritance as the new lord of the Iron Islands.
I'd rather die in the Reach than live on the Iron Islands.
The roses are prettier to pluck. But my brother was getting old and felt that longing to sit. And the sea stone chair was as good a place as any. Within a few years, he realized that sitting is only fun if everyone else has to stand. He had the priest reforge. No, that's not right. They picked up sticks on the beach, wove them into a new ancient driftwood crown, and declared Balon the king of the Iron Islands. Unfortunately for my brother, the other king in Westeros, Robert Baratheon, was famously bad at sharing, and his father-by-law and warden of the West, Tywin Lannister, had a mighty fleet at Lannisport within striking distance of the Iron Islands.
Yes, you were very clever, and how brave, burning our ships at anchor in the night.
They would have burned the same in daylight. Iron's a lazy beast. You didn't rouse until long after I set fire to your proud mane. I planned it all, you know. My first torch took your father's flagship. If it makes you feel better, we didn't loot it. Out of respect. And time.
I don't think I ever saw Robert happier than the day he heard about the Greyjoy Rebellion. He'd been king for a handful of years, and many handfuls of other things, and it was clear to him and everyone else how ill-suited he was to rule. But battle he could do. Unfortunately, by the time we raised our army, we seemed to be winning the war. Balon's eldest son, your nephew, died trying to storm Seaguard, and his men were thrown back into the arms of their drowned god. If we wanted battle, we'd have to hurry north before the Ironborn put down their own rebellion.
And we would have, if I had my way. Rebelling was a stupid idea.
Never stopped your people before.
Before Balon put those sticks on his head, I told him that if he wanted to rule the Iron Islands, all he had to do was give King Robert a tour of them. Why waste our forces fighting a war we couldn't win for a place our enemy wouldn't want? With the Iron Fleet, we could reef not just Westeros, but the rich lands beyond the Sunset Sea. But my brother was too attached to that sea stone chair. He commanded me to sail the Iron Fleet against Robert's navy before we could ferry his army to Pike.
A navy commanded by Robert's younger brother, Stannis, most known for sitting in a besieged castle eating dogs and horses. Remind me, how did you fare against a man who'd never commanded ships in battle?
Nearly too well.
Stannis smashed your Iron Fleet at Fair Isle.
After I sailed it into a strait, where our numbers and the size of our ships would work against us. It took some doing to convince my men to rush into such an obvious trap. Stannis was not a subtle man.
You would rather claim treason than defeat.
Victory would have only delayed it. We couldn't hold off Robert's forces forever, but we could waste enough Ironborn that we wouldn't even fill our own islands after the war. I made sure the silence escaped. That was enough for me. That, and watching your army smash my brother's castle soon afterwards.
Why didn't you just abandon him after Fair Isle? Why risk your precious life fighting for him at Pike?
I wanted to kill the best knights in Westeros.
You failed.
So did you. I expected pursuit when I fled Pike on the silence. But I suppose you were too busy not punishing my brother to not punish the man who burned your father's fleet. And now, I'm back.
You were back. But what is the King of the Iron Islands when he's off the Iron Islands?
I'll never see those shit-stained rocks again. But I'm getting old, and I find myself wanting to sit down, as my father and brother did in their time. They just chose the wrong chair.